Tesla's giving us a little bit of a headache this morning too, Jeff, not helping the situation at all here for stocks.
Tesla facing a class action lawsuit over its EV driving ranges.
Henrik, last night you guys showed a sneak peek, if you will, of your future lineup of vehicles, including the Alaska, which will be an electric pickup truck. I have to be honest with you, I mentioned this to a friend as soon as I saw the pictures, and the friend said, another electric pickup truck? Does Fisker really think that there is going to be a market there? How do you answer that criticism or concern that is out there?
All that and more, so let's get to it. Surprise, surprise. Tesla stock down almost 2%, with some incredible volatility along the way. For the week, down about 1%. Going back a whole month, Tesla stock is down 9.5%. The 90-day chart looks pretty decent, however, up almost 56.5%. Going back a whole calendar year, Tesla stock is now down 18%. Year to date, however, Tesla up over 135.5%. A far cry from the sky falling, if you ask me. Now, I'm not concerned about my stock here in the near term. I already pegged the first half of August to be a bit of a downer, hence why I placed a few puts. Since the implied volatility of the options contracts right now are so low, the thought has crossed my mind of purchasing a long-term call that might expire in 2025. But internally, I've told myself to wait until about the middle of August to see where that pans out. Should the stock end up plunging through my support level, all bets might be off. Where was that guy when I was losing all my money? I got a problem, folks. Your boy likes to gamble. And we're about 30 minutes out from the trading day closing, and in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have lost nearly as much money if I'd have just waited till now to close out these trades. And honestly, for what I closed them for, I might as well have waited. I closed this put out for $60, losing a whopping $415. And the other put I closed out for $69, trying to be funny, and lost over $350. We'll round that up and say that's a loss of about $800. Sure, it helps my taxes out for next year, but nobody wants to lose. This was a pretty dark week, and I told myself earlier not to with it until the middle of August. Not only did I with it, I with it hard. I also have a put that is scheduled to expire next week. Your boy paid $800 for that put alone, and right now it's looking decent. Hopefully I can make some of those losses back from those earlier puts, but I'm not holding my breath. As soon as I get a 50% return from this, your boy is setting some hardline rules. I've been lax for some reason, and I don't know why. Call it visions of grandeur, I don't know what it is, but that hustle is no more. There will be a rigid set of guidelines and rules that I adhere to when it comes to my options contracts from here on out. You know what? I almost believe that myself.
Tesla's giving us a little bit of a headache this morning too, Jeff, not helping the situation at all here for stocks, as there is now almost 300,000 car probe from the Highway Administration.
Yeah, another investigation from the regulators. As you said, about 280,000 of the 2023 Model 3s and Model Ys are under investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration after complaints that drivers are losing steering control and power steering. The regulators said in a notice that they've received a dozen complaints from drivers who experienced steering problems, including one who said that it caused a crash. Tesla, of course, as we know, is able to fix a lot of issues through a software update, but it isn't yet clear whether or not they could resolve an issue like this without a recall. It's also worth noting that separately, the regulator is also investigating unintended acceleration and phantom braking in their autopilot feature. And of course, this is not the first time we've seen Tesla be investigated by the regulators. Earlier this year, they launched an investigation into complaints about steering wheels detaching altogether.
12 complaints and 280,000 vehicles. Let's all get to the bottom of it, and if there's an issue, Tesla will fix it. Just in case this isn't enough FUD for you, let's go ahead and dogpile a little bit more. Let's talk about a few more Blue Moon cases where the steering wheels popped off. But in all seriousness, folks, it's very important for you to be in tune with your vehicle. If you feel anything slightly off, it's better to be safe than sorry. But 12 out of 280,000, I'd probably be more inclined to be like, if that was 1,200 out of 280,000, we might have an issue. But when dealing with these cases, some people are just looking for somebody else to blame other than themselves when they have these crashes. Not saying that's the case, but it often has been operator error that leads to most of these incidents.
Yeah, that was a pretty ugly one. Good reminder on that. Stocks down 2%. I don't know. What do you think? Market's down 1.5%. Meta's down almost the same as Tesla. Do you think the market here is worried about this? Thinks it's a big deal, a problem, or just kind of down with everything else?
It remains to be seen sort of situation. We'll see what the regulators see. We'll see what the resolution will be if there is indeed a problem. But I think most of these investors in Tesla, for one, are very used to volatility. They're also used to stories coming up that impact Tesla that are outside just the normal scope of deliveries and production numbers.
Jeff, thinking about what we saw yesterday when the market was very happy about some of the Chinese EV makers, I'm thinking like Li Auto ripping. The deliveries seem to be pretty good. It kind of looks like the sector generally is still one of the few where investors are willing to take on some of these risks, whether it's profitability, imperfections on the bottom line, margin imperfections. It does seem like all those solar stocks, while they're getting creamed, there is still a draw into the secular growth and market growth of the EVs where they can take some of these hits. I mean, because I'm with you. I don't think this is like a big drop off in Tesla after this story. The market seems still very resilient in this group.
Yeah, well, it's hard for investors to look away from these stocks. I mean, you talked about the numbers we saw from some of the other EV makers, Li, NIO, XPeng. We were seeing record delivery numbers, record production numbers. Some of them, up 100% or more. And so, seeing these numbers come out, knowing that there's also this factor in China where we're continuing to see demand grow. We of course have watched that economy open up since COVID. And there are a lot of high expectations in China that we're going to see these EV companies do really well from a delivery perspective. Now, having said that, they're also dealing with competition. We're seeing different EV companies lower prices. I think expectations overall across the globe are pretty high for EV, and it's hard to look away from those companies right now, even if you do have concerns about the economy, even if you have concerns about some of these outside stories like what we're seeing from Tesla today.
EV penetration in China is the highest in the world. Europe's EV market is further along than the US. US is sitting around a little bit under 10% EV penetration of the automotive sales. If China and Europe are any indicators, the United States has a long runway when you talk about EV demand. If I had to put a term on it, I would say EV demand is growing at an exponential rate all over the world. Yeah, I agree, cash register. There's opportunity there. Miss the opportunity if you want to.
Whole group down too, so Tesla's not even as much as Ford at this point, so I don't think this is the market too worried about this. So something to keep an eye on though. It's not great when they have to, kind of keep either recalling or justifying probes, etc. It's just not a great look still, but it never really manifests itself into some big demand, reversal. It just hasn't happened for Tesla. They're still making great deliveries.
At this point, it's just noise. If you're invested in Tesla stock, keep your eye on the prize.
Tesla facing a class action lawsuit over its EV driving ranges. Pras Subramanian is here with the details. So, Pras, we've got another thorn in the side when it comes to Tesla, right?
Yeah, the next shoe dropping here after that big Reuters report talking about how Tesla may have used an algorithm to improve or show rosier range display in the car when actually you're getting a much less range. So now comes a proposed class action lawsuit where the plaintiffs are alleging that Tesla breached vehicle warranties and engaged in fraud and unfair competition. The three plaintiffs allege that they got less range than advertised. In fact, one said he lost 182 miles of range and only got 92 miles that day. Now, I got to say though, EVs sort of have a lot of a broad variance in range when it comes to warm weather versus cold weather versus other conditions. But for some reason, Tesla, according to Consumer Reports, has the widest disparity in range across different conditions, basically getting much less than what the EPA actually certified them to get. So I think this is sort of an ongoing issue. And like you said, another thorn in the side for Tesla. We'll see if they maybe try to dispose of this lawsuit by settling, or who knows, because I don't think they're going to want to get into discovery and emails. And, they also had this diversion team, right, where they actually had a team in Las Vegas where people complained about range. They got sent to this team. They would got the complaint rid of, and they would bang a xylophone to, kind of like a boiler room type of fun activity there. So a lot going on in that report from Reuters. So we'll see where this actually goes from a legal point of view.
All right, I'm gonna put this range to bed. It's starting to get on my nerves. The number of child hot car deaths for 2022 was 33. So far in 2023, 15 deaths have been reported. On average, 38 children under the age of 15 die each year from heat stroke after being left in a vehicle. Can you guess how many hot car deaths there have been inside a Tesla? Oh, I'll give you that answer. It's a goose egg. But hustle. How can that be? What does Tesla do differently than every other auto manufacturer on the planet?
Right now we are in UAE, in Dubai Service Center, where we conduct field testing for Tesla.
The climate here is special. It's very warm, so it's part of the reason why we're doing testing here.
We are focusing mainly on mileage accumulation, hot weather related tests, as well as product launch testing. So we like to test these cars here. We also do the same in Norway during the winter. The main goal of this test is to make sure that these vehicles will survive at both extreme conditions, cold and hot. We'll be safe for every conditions we have in between these two.
The hot climate is really challenging for the vehicle because it has to cool the battery, the drive units, and also it's really important to keep the passengers cool.
So we'll charge the car numerous times. We'll use the AC as much as possible. We'll use cabin overheat protection. We'll use all the features of the vehicle. We'll park it in the sun for a long time. We'll charge it superchargers. Why are we using black cars? Because black absorbs more heat. So we want to take the car that's most likely to suffer.
We're trying to find everything that could impact the customer from bumper to bumper.
The cabin overheat protection. That is the reason why people are getting less and less range. If you're sitting your Tesla out in the sun, it's not going to let the cabin exceed a certain temperature. It's going to kick on the air conditioning. The air conditioning uses the battery. The battery is your source of range. So if it's using it for other purposes other than driving you distances, the range will decrease. Depending on how hot it is will determine how often the cabin overheat protection activates. It's like complaining about high electric bills in the summer when you're constantly using your AC.
And Henrik Fisker, founder and CEO of Fisker. We heard about the smaller than expected loss. We reported it when it came out, Henrik. But I think a lot of people are asking questions right now about your guidance in terms of vehicle production. You have cut it again down to a range of 20 to 23,000. What's the issue here, and why are you cutting production guidance again?
Well, I think you have to look at, everybody's looking at production guidance for a year, and I think we have to forget that because we only have half a year of production this year. We started delivering cars a couple of months ago. So now we're at mid-year, and I think what's really important here is that we get to our goal of 300 cars a day, which is 6,000 cars a month, and we will reach that within the next couple of months. So look, we got a late start. We have now produced about 2,000 vehicles. We have got handed over about 850 vehicles that are on the way to customers. So I think we really now are on the right way. We had some hiccups in the beginning. We got a supplier in Europe that went bankrupt a couple of months ago. We had to figure that out. And now we're really just down to one supplier that we need to get back up to speed. But apart from that, I think we're really on the roll now.
Production only goes as fast as your slowest part. Now, Fisker's had some troubles, and I'm hoping that they're able to overcome these issues. The vehicles aren't terrible, but you've got to have a desire, a hunger to manufacture the best vehicles on the planet. And so far, there's only a handful of pure battery electric vehicle manufacturers that I can see might have that gumption. There's no doubt Fisker has some challenges ahead.
Henrik, you ended Q1 with approximately 70,000 reservations. You're not giving guidance on reservations right now or an update on where they are right now. Where do they stand? And is there an issue with converting reservations into actual deliveries?
No, really not. We just keep on delivering. We didn't go into 70,000. I just want to correct that. I think we said 62 to 65,000.
Phil, don't put words in the man's mouth. Don't set him up for failure.
And I think we're well over 70,000 now. What we have seen is that basically some people are saying, well, I just got off my lease and I still have to wait a year to get my car. So I think that might be a certain issue in the US. We're actually seeing reservations going up in Europe. So I think converting has really not been a problem. We are delivering vehicles. People are taking their vehicles. They love their vehicles. So that's actually been quite good.
I guess we'll just have to take his word for it since they don't disclose how many reservations that they have. Just know that they're going up. From what? I don't know, but they're going up.
Henrik, last night you guys showed a sneak peek, if you will, of your future lineup of vehicles, including the Alaska, which will be an electric pickup truck. I have to be honest with you, I mentioned this to a friend as soon as I saw the pictures, and the friend said, another electric pickup truck? Does Fisker really think that there is going to be a market there? How do you answer that criticism or concern that is out there?
Don't worry, Phil. I'll answer that for you. You build a pickup that is better than its internal combustion engine variant. You don't worry about what's already out there. You produce the best vehicle that you possibly can and try to produce as many of them so that you can turn a profit. I wonder what Henrik will say.
Well, I think you must have forgot to mention the price, Phil, because this wasn't another $80,000 to $100,000 pickup truck. It's with incentive $37,900. There's not even a single electric pickup truck in that market. I think it's the hottest market right now in North America. And we already got 1,000 orders on this vehicle just from last night. So I think this is going to be a huge success to bring out a pickup truck that is fun to drive, that has a versatile bed. It goes from 4.5 foot to 7.5 to 9.6 feet. So I think this is a standalone, absolutely amazing vehicle, and the feedback was astonishing. So I think there's room for something more sporty, something more affordable in the electric pickup segment. But if you made another $100,000 pickup truck, not needed, but this is around $40,000. So definitely a lot of potential for this vehicle.
What can you say? The price is right. But for a company that's already having production issues, prototypes are easy?
Henrik, real quick, because we're running up against the jobs report, which is coming out shortly. How much pressure are you feeling to cut prices on the Ocean even further? I know you haven't cut them, but feeling pressure to cut prices on the Ocean, given what you're seeing with Tesla and concerns about EV pricing overall?
Well, really nothing, because we came out with very good pricing in 2020. Starts at $37,500 up to $68,000. And so far, we haven't felt any pressure on that. I mean, if you look at, the truth is that the car makers that, they raised the prices in 2021, 22, and now they really just put them down to where they were in 2020. And, we really never raised the price in 21, 22 because we weren't selling cars.
Fisker has a mountain of manufacturing problems to tackle. There's a delicate balance that needs to be struck when you're creating high quality products in mass. In conclusion, your boy is an idiot when it comes to options activity. No shortage of Tesla fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Make sure you take advantage of these dips while you can. And we're hoping that Fisker can overcome their manufacturing challenges so that they can continue to produce battery electric vehicles in support of the growing electric vehicle demand around the world. Tesla can't do it alone. It's going to take a myriad of auto manufacturers if we plan to put a dent in the internal combustion engine sales. Well, that's all I got for you today. Be easy. Peace.